Hello everybody, how y'all doing today? Elementalist here. Today's show would be fast rifts with my monk Krillin T1 in Torment 1 because I've done a lot of shows with the Barbarian, and as you can all see, the Barbarian has grown throughout, the weeks that I've used her and stuff, maybe just a week. And right now it is kind of like my monk that is underpowered. So I'm gonna try to do what Blizzard said, which is rifts are the best way to farm, and Kadala is the best way to swap out your gear. So I'm just gonna try to infinitely rift until I get something good. I'm just gonna be doing it fast in Torment 1. I think I can still do it relatively fast, and yeah, we'll see where it goes. I'm kind of excited. As you can see, my monk starts off with 600,000 DPS, 13 million toughness. What that equates to is, if you look at the details of it, I have around 1748 all resistance. There is some kind of diminishing turns after a while, so this gives me 83% reduction, and then this gives me 72 damage reduction overall. My armor needs to be a little bit higher, but I'm not complaining about that at the moment because I would really like to continue to increase the resistances. I think that's where it's at for the monk, at least. It's the easiest to do because dexterity doesn't equate to strength, because strength is armor, dexterity is dodge chance. So all you gotta do is stack on some of that dex. But as you can see, out of 6,500 dex already, it's only 29.71% dodge, which is not good. Which is good. Sorry, which is good because you're dodging about 3 out of every 10 attacks, which roughly equates to almost 1 out of every 3 attacks. It needs to go a little bit higher. But if we get that high, then we might be able to dodge a little bit easier. Another thing that I want to do is I'm probably going to remove some of the vitality gems here because I see a couple of my mates have done the all resistance build, and with the all resistance they actually have very, very good gear on just the all resistance. And what I mean by that is they have, let's say, mantra of healing up with all resistances and reduces damage by 20%, but they only had 200k life. So I'm not sure if having 400k life is good because you get your damage, the life gets drained out so quickly. It's not as optimal, maybe. So I'm going to switch around the gear a little bit and see what has the best type of gear. I really think that I should delve into the formula and explain the formula of how damage reduction is. But, well, with the armor, we could probably see that right now because I just take everything off. And it's not letting me take everything off. Why? I just want to put it back in my inventory, bro. Anyway, so I'm going to take everything off the armor and see how much damage and resistance I get, or anti-resistance I get from just the armor alone. Then we could calculate that with the all resistances as well. So here's my naked monk. Nice, sexy body with 10 damage and 22,000 toughness, all from Paragon level, right? 10 damage. Wow, that's crazy. 10 damage a second. Oh my goodness, look at how slow that attack is. If you want to know which one is the fastest attack, you can totally do this. So Fist of Thunder is faster than Crippling Wave, as you can see. Right? Deadly reach time. And Wave of Thunder Fist probably the slowest. Let's see. Oh my, it's so slow. It looks like it lags. Anyway, so this is probably a tie between Fist of Thunder and Deadly Reach. I would say that the most amount of damage still probably comes from, you know, this one. But if you want a close second, and I mean a pretty far second from that, because it's around 650 as opposed to, you know, for 3 attacks, as opposed to, you know, 800 for 3 attacks. You could go Mangle. You also get, you know, slow and damage reduction when you hit them with the Crippling Wave as well. So Crippling Wave has multiple uses, where if you're just going pure offense, Way of the 100 Fists is the way to go. Way of the 100 Fists is good for you if you want to continuously do a lot of damage to bosses. Excuse me, I feel like I have something in my eye. Anyway, yeah, let's start putting on some equipment and seeing how much damage I have. My natural armor is 173. I reduced 4% damage with that, so let's pull up the calculator and do some calculations with it. So, let's see. 173. Whoops. Where's that at? 173 armor, let's see. Increases armor by 77. So, that's 4.71 damage reduction. So, let's see. 173 armor is equal to 471. Let's put that. Is equal to 0.471, right? What's that equal sign? Whatever. 4.71. So that's going to be the equation that we're going to use until whatever you call it. So, you put down this, put up this variable, and now you have 1,088 armor. That is a lot. Why? How does this get so much armor from 752? 752, 151, 1,088 armor. Alright. Don't know how that turns out. Maybe it has something to do with the poison resistance as well. I have no clue. But the helmet's armor is 752. So right now you have 1,088 and it's equal to 25.4%. Right? Was it 25.4? Yeah, 25.34. So 1,088 is equal to 25.34. Alright, so that's how much 1 is. Crit hit damage plus 100%. Nice. So it's basically crit hit damage without anything is double the regular damage that you do. Well, it's good to find out. Bare bone stats. That's what it takes. Number crunching to find this stuff out. Alright. So, after adding the armor, your toughness jumps quite a bit. 42k. Not that bad. So you add 1,046, now it's 2431. So 2453 armor will be equal to, how much is the damage reduction done on it? Oh, sorry Nahar, 41.21. So 41.21. So in relation to okay. So, sorry about that. In relation to the armor, this is what you're getting out of it. So, you double the armor, you almost get double the amount of damage reduction, right? So 1,000 is about 25, but 2,000 should be about 50, but right now it's starting to diminish, right? So, how much does it diminish, and how do you calculate that? We'll figure out the actual equation for it later. Now Let's see. Let's put on the boots. That's the one I had, right? Yeah, I think so. Because anything after, the fist weapons are. And now it's up to 3352. And the armor reduction is 50%, 0.37. Equals 50%, 0.37. So you can see it's starting to get lower and lower. We have almost a full 1,000 increase. It's about 10% increase now. Next we have 1273. So it's 5005. Oh, I should have been doing the all resistances as we speak as well. Whoops. It's okay. I've become naked again. That's not a bad look for me. 58.96, 5029 goes to 58.26. Let's continue going. Right? 58.96, sorry. Let's continue going and put on some more stuff. The rings have zero armor, right? But oh, Ring inertly has some armor apparently. So let's just put on the rings. 5251. 5251 is 60%. Oh, that's brilliant. I like that. 60%. Now chest armor, the empty socket, 6,097. Oh, I have one with all on. That's why. I mean, seize the initiative. Sorry, that's why there's more. If you have increase in dexterity, you have a big increase in armor as well. So 6,697 is equivalent to 65%. It's equivalent to 65%. Oh, starting to get a little bit impatient, so let's just put on the rest of this crazy stuff. Alright, so fully clothed would be 9,048 and 72.11% is equal to 72.11%. So as you can see, right now, as you go up by the thousands, you're going up by only percentage points per the thousand, about 1,000 per percent, and I don't know how long that lasts until. Let's see. Part of me wants to do more dexterity, like fill up all the sockets with 600 dexterity. That way I can have more armor, more dodge, and more damage, because that's the most effective stat to do the reduction in, since I have all that resistance up already. And it seems like it'll increase my armor by just a little bit more if I do it in all reduction. Alright, so now let's take off these wonderful pieces of gear again and see how much we go through for what do you call it? Yeah, I'm not going to really go through the calculations because it's going to take too long, but if you eyeball the stats and then you continue playing and then reevaluating it, I think that's the best way to go, because if you do that, then you'll be able to at least have an idea of where you're going, what direction you're going in. Wow, that's pretty cool. 258 is already 42%, so let's do this. This is, what do you call it? 258 is to 42%. Equals 42% reduction, right? So 42.39. Put on this. It doesn't matter. 258, 258. There's nothing. So let's put on the helmet first. So it's 528. 528 of all is equal to, 60%. 60%. right? 60.07. Put on that. 614 is equal to 63%. 614 equal to 63%. Whoops, 36. Big drop. You know, if you put on your shoes, big drop in resistance. Don't do that. 740 is equal to 67.88. Wait, what? 740? Yeah. Equal to 67.88. Let's see. Double check that. Yeah. And then put on the rings. 994 is equal to 73.5. Is equal to 73.5. Now let's go with the shoulders. 1088, 1214. That's good. 77. 77.62, 1214. And then each piece that adds on, 12, 14, 13, 13, 14, 66. 14, 66, 80.73. Okay. And now let's put on everything else. Fully clothed monk. 1748, 83. 83.32. So 18 what? 1748 is 83.42. So look at it. 300 all resistance only gives you about 3%. So what that tells me is after you hit around 1500, you're basically good. You're gonna hit the peak of whatever else you're trying to do. But you see, what my armor tells me is I could still go up to about 80% reduction, and that would be good. So 80% reduction, and then you start going like based on your vitality and HP and stuff. So that would be optimal. Let me see if I remove a couple of gems here and there, what that does for me. So it's around 144 resistance, and does that do much? Because I'm going to take away 144 all resistance right now. It cost me a penny, whatever. So, details, 1604, 82.9. I could do it without 1% of damage. But if I add on, the so all resistance is not that good with the monk. If you decide to use all, you just need to be around 1500-ish for everything. Then you're basically golden. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to me. Right now I don't even have to go for all resistances stuff right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these nice gems back, and I'm gonna craft more royals and put them into my chest. Wow. And see how much the damage gets increased by that. Royal emeralds. Do one of those. So I have 7. 2 more. Do 3 of these, and then 1 more royal emerald. Then I would probably have 3. And going broke. Oh, I forgot to buy my Hellfire ring plan. Whatever. This is more important anyway. It's fine. Yeah. And put in these 3 to these 3 sockets right here. So now I have 7,000 dexterity. And what's my armor at? 72.9,259. 9,259. 9,259. And it's equivalent to how much damage reduction is that? 72.57. So 72.57. See, you go up about 200, and your so as high as you can go is probably about 700. 70% damage reduction before it gets kind of useless. And yeah. So right now, I'm actually free to focus on damage and be able to get through things more quickly via damage. So it's a pretty good thing. I like that we did this calculation today. And yeah, because after a while, yes, you need to have more stuff to like you really got to figure out the numbers for you to have the maximum amount of HP block and all this other stuff, because after a while, like, you can't just stack one thing and hopefully that one thing would reduce damage from everything, you know. After a while, you're actually going to have to look, here's your primary stat. You get the most benefit from your primary stat, because no matter what, your damage is increased by your primary stat completely. Dodge amount actually increased by 3% too, because it was at 29. Now it's at 32.76. So it's very good to have your primary stat be the primary gem that you put in, regardless of what other people say. The trick though now is to find gear with properties like the Hellcat Waistguard is not that good because it's damage oriented, but now it's up to you to find the gear to say, oh look, calculate this shield into the resistances. Oh wait, now I need life per hit to sustain myself throughout the higher torments. As long as you can stay relatively beefy and have less crowd control effects, you'll basically be able to regenerate most of your HP based on what your primary stats and etc. are. Right now, I feel like a good amount of all resistance is 1500. Once you have 1500, you're golden, because anything over that, you're piling on hundreds and hundreds just for like a 1 or 2%. That 1 or 2% can make a difference. I'm not saying it doesn't, right? Because if you're taking like 1,000,000 damage, 1% of 1,000,000 damage is still 10,000. That's a lot of damage per second. Because look at your amount of life. 10,000 damage per second will be like, whoa, I all of a sudden take 10,000 extra damage. I'd like to reduce 10,000 damage, right? Those small percentages do equate for a lot. But as always, you have to just play through the torment level slowly, and also play through the game progression slowly, because in Act 1 it's a little bit easier, Act 2 is a little bit harder, it deals with more stuff, and when you get to the ROS expansion, Act 5, it actually is a lot harder. Like, I went in with the full gear, same level, it was so ridiculously hard just because you had to deal with stuns, you had to deal with whirlwinding damage, and it's just different types of damage. Act 5 has more physical damage than anything, less elemental damage, but the elites still are a plethora of frozen, arcane, poison, and fire. They're just like, whoa, dump all that damage on you on top of physical. So you might want to look at things that enable you to survive via those resistances and armor and stuff like that, and figure out which works best for you and progress through those levels accordingly. Because after a while, to really do higher torments, you either have A, the damage to destroy everything, or B, the ability to go through the game without dying as often. Because if you're tanky enough, you could rely on your tankiness to survive and just do the consistent source of damage, like via Mystic Ally or via Sweeping Wind or Mantra of Conviction. I think the holy damage, the 38% holy damage that you do in an area is good, because as long as you're alive, they're taking damage. That's really, really good. People would say, no, I rather have, overall and hit them with something. It just depends on your playstyle. If you're going for the passive damage, then obviously you would go for something like the Mantra of Conviction with the holy damage. But if you're going for active damage, you like to get in there and you hit stuff. You just don't want things to die around you while you're affected by CC or whatever. Then you have to build your build around being able to hit them. With the monk specifically, because you have Serenity and you have Epiphany, by design you're always able to hit them. So the best way to get the damage in is, by hitting them and hitting everything that's around you for 20 yards or 26 yards or however. But the problem is, if you use Epiphany, everything on the screen is getting hit, and everything on the screen is like more than 20 yards away. It's probably like I think the full screen around you is about 40 yards if you're looking at it from my angle, the rectangular one. So so that's a very big amount to cover. So the Mantra of Conviction probably won't cover that as well. So you might as well just have the damage. I'm thinking you might as well have the damage. I really like that. But when I was playing through as the old season monk, like the one before Reaper of Souls, the Sweeping Wind one with the Fist of Thunder, that was like the most super OP build ever. That type of continuous hit, you actually do quite a bit more damage if you have the mantra around you, because the cyclones will shock them for just about wherever the enemies are, and if you gather them in a horde, that's how it is. Yeah, but another build that you could do with the monk is the Sweeping Wind build. I think the new Sweeping Wind build will still have to be Serenity, Blinding Flash, Epiphany, and Cyclone Strike, with your escape being either Tempest Rush, and your auto attack being either Mangle, the Crippling Wave with Mangle, because that hits more, so it generates more cyclones, or the Fist of Thunder, so you could teleport to them and keep on them. But Mangle will probably be better. Mangle and Cyclone, just because you can pull them in and then do your little thing with them. For that build, I would still take one with everything, seize initiative. Those are really important because the monk has is armor shy. And then after that, I would go with let's see. For the other two spells, probably Mystic Rhythm. I'm not sure, or probably Resolve, because when you have Cyclone, it actually does a lot of damage with Resolve. Or if you have another spell that you can take with you is Overall, or Intimidation, just because there's a constant source of damage reduction everywhere around you if you have those abilities up. So that's a Sweeping Wind one. I would always go with the Cyclone one, because the Cyclone one, even though it's nerfed the last rune, even though it's nerfed, it's still really good, because number one, it does damage as an AoE. It lasts only like 2 or 3 seconds now, but it still travels and it still shocks everything per second via the Cyclone, and it's lightning damage, which means you could stack on lightning resistant. Like that build, you could stack on lightning damage and you'd totally be fine. Like if you use Fist of Thunder, Cyclone damage, and the Sweeping Wind, all those are your primary things that hurt them are lightning skills. So you could stack on lightning skills from your bracer and helmet. That gives you a 30% extra increase in damage, and that might be what you need to destroy the waves around you. I always would just say go with go with the whatever runes beside Thunderclap though, because Fist of Thunder is really good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that procs area damage very well. I'm pretty sure I'm able to say that safely because I tried it out. It doesn't proc a lot of area damage, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe they fixed it. But yeah, that's a good sweeping wind build. I'm just kind of tired of sweeping wind. You'll see me transform the monk here and there from time to time, but as far as everything goes, that's the introduction to this part of the show. I hope you enjoyed it because it actually showed how much like the diminishing returns are a cap at. What is the most beneficial to you while you increase the stat? Don't get me wrong, a million, like I said before, 1% of a million is still 10,000 damage, and depending on your vitality, 10,000 damage is still a lot. But I would still go for the dexterity, because improving your primary stat and stacking up your primary stats attribute, like with the monk, I probably like replace something to increase the dodge chance. It's really good, just because he already has so much dodge chance inertly, you know. So that's it for that part of the show. I'm sorry it took so long, but now let's get to the fun part. We're gonna go excuse me. We're gonna go rifting and see how fast we can do the rift. We're probably gonna go through 1 or 2 speed runs, and then that'll be it for the entire show today. Alright, so let's get to the action. I'm excited too because I just increased my damage by quite a bit, because 652 right now. Maybe, just maybe, I should try to craft one more royal and, you know, stick one royal in there. Yeah, I'm probably going to do that. Let's craft one royal, stick one royal in there, because I'm probably not going to get the plans for the Infernal Machine anytime, the plans for the Hellfire Ring anytime soon, which is also ultimately one of my goals. So let's combine the gems. So 9, that's how much was the cost? Alright, so 36. It's probably 18, right? 36. Whatever, I could still totally take a look at it afterwards. Let's go to mindlessly craft right now. So 9 of these costs 1,800, yeah. 3 of these will cost 9. So that's 27, 2.7 mil. So to get a royal, you spend roughly 3.1 million plus a death breath. Whatever. Now I'm gonna degem this for 400k and add one. Whatever, let's do this. Cool. So, rifting. That's right. 682. Let's go do this. I wonder how far my toughness has become. How small my toughness has become.
Embrace your power.
Embrace my power and I'll survive. What a fitting thing to say after I said, let's just do the primary stat as much as we can. Thank you. No, this is a mangle. I don't know, why not? I'll just try mangle right now. It's not like I have a rune for it anyway. I will say though, attack speed seems to affect mangle a little bit better than it does, you know, like Way of the 100 Fists or something like that. And good thing that this is a cathedral, because I have to farm bookcases anyway for Griswold's fine scribblings. I wonder if it only appears in story mode though, I'm not sure. Every part that I've read said it appears in story mode, so maybe it's a story mode exclusive. Some of the stuff that you only get via story mode, you know? Let's go to this dark alley. Where's all the monsters here? There's like no monsters in this rift. Whatever. Alright, well, after this. Yeah, I changed this to Tempest Rush actually. Oh my, one bug prevented me. Alright. Sorry, it's not being as speedy as I want to just because I'm doing different stuff right now. Alright, now it should be pretty speedy. Let's do it. Oh my. Cool. Got everything. Let's just destroy everything we can.
Good fight.
Whoa, even more. That's great.
I have been healed.
Pick up some health globes. Yeah, the thing with me is I really like to get into the crux of the game. I'm not, you know, the actual best analytics type of person because I don't see how much damage the enemies do, but I like to maximize what I can control the best, which is the damage on my end. Damage / dodge on my end. I'm one of those people that would be like, wow, 1%. Well, it's so little compared to, you know, if you have the max amount of gains while balance is better. But people are like, no, you stack it up to one type of thing, even though if it's little, so you'd be really OP in that one type and then it'll be fine. Like, you stack up all resistances to one type and then you'll be good. And I'm like, no, but what about all these other things that I could do, you know, like, when you want the best way to be balanced, or the most balanced, is to actually have the balance in the most amount of areas possible. So okay, so let's say that I give up 2% damage, but I get 3% dodge, right? Like, that's really good. Like, if I might have a bigger percentage chance to dodge that, other than rather than just say, oh hey, there's a clear damage reduction that you can do here, you know? So it's just the way you play it. I like to maximize all the stats, and then I guess that's really true to like the nature or whatever game I'm playing to. Like, I like to maximize the stat that actually matters to me. Because if you have the stat that does damage and is defensive, it's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, that's what I think that's better than just having pure damage most of the time, or pure defensive. But I do recognize the merit of having, you know, like a more support-oriented person. Like, you use your advantages for the team, and then eventually it'll be better overall. Because, like, well, imagine if you had mantra of whatever and the war cry, you'd have everything reduced by a base 40% before anything stacks on it. So I'm a big fan of team play. However, you know, you really need to have those team-oriented. Really need those team-oriented spells to do team play. And because I solo so much during the show, it doesn't really matter. The only time I actually get a lot of team play is when I'm with, you know, my friends, or when I'm in good public games. You know, and you know how like the idea of sport is, idea of sport education, and like for everybody to get the most enriching experience out of anything that they do, really, is to have them learn it by themselves, because once they learn it by themselves, it's easier for them to internalize. Like, you can say, I can tell you all the stats you want here and there, but I mean, unless you really go out it, or you're pretty interested in this kind of stuff, and you look at my videos like as a whole, then you'll be able to see, oh hey, this is how it's done, and that's, you know, that's how it was at that time, so that's how these stats measure up to what at that time. So that's how you actually learn to be better in any subject matter or area that you're in. For me, I chose games because it was a forum that was interesting enough to me, and it kept my attention, you know, because in school the subject matter was interesting, but I just couldn't keep my attention span on, you know, one subject for too long. But here, I could basically do games for like 6 hours, and it'll still feel like work, yes, because when you're invested in something for that amount of time for that long, it will feel like work, like you're working. It's your attention span goes from focus into this area into overdrive, and you're basically running off looking for whatever task you can to accompany your mind from like becoming bored of the task. So playing games for 6 hours, yes, does feel a lot like work, and I totally need breaks in between, because I can't not have breaks when I'm doing these presentations and shows. But you know, it's something that I enjoy enough so that when I do it, it doesn't feel like work, and that's what finding a job and finding a career really is. Like, the hidden message in, you know, finding a job or career anytime, people always say, look for work anywhere, because that's what you need to do to sustain yourself and survive. But if you're looking for a career, you have to look for something that you enjoy doing. So, like, part-time jobs are actually a thing that is not so bad to a lot of people. Like, individually speaking, part-time jobs allow you to, you know, somewhat survive and be able to invest the amount of time you need into what you love. And that's why I totally respect people with full-time jobs that do that, because they're doing something that's totally amazing. Like, if you're supporting a full-time job and on your weekends and nights you're going out to do acting gigs and stuff like that, that's totally amazing to me, just because you have the dedication to, and the focus to not burn yourself out. I'm not sure how long you could do that before you burn yourself out, but not burn yourself out for, you know, a set amount of time, and continue that degree of focus while being able to do something that you love. And the counter argument to that is, if you're doing something you love not full-time, that means that you have more energy when you actually do it. Like, you renew yourself anytime you put yourself into that situation. But for me, if you do something you love for that extended amount of time, it's still a burden on your mind, just because, like, if you're tired and you say, oh, like, for example, take me and doing this video game thing, right? If I'm doing this, like, after streaming for, you know, 8 hours, or like, let's just say 6.5 hours yesterday, I still have to get up and do, my daytime show, which is more technical, and my nighttime show is more podcasty and fun. I also have to put the time out to do reviews and stuff. And what you can see here is I usually tend to dive into the game and do the live streaming, and the reviews come slower, where it should be the other way around. Most of the time, the content you should produce should be like consumable at any time to anybody, rather than at a fickle time while you're here and there. If you're doing a live stream, the idea behind it is you are on enough to make it a service. However, the more, that's why I'm trying to be more consistent with the live stream, because with the live stream, it's like, oh, if anyone talks to me via chat or whatever, I would know, and I'd be able to answer questions right away, and the following of the community would be nice if it was there. But right now, I feel like what I'm doing is just doing the live stream as a consumable show to put on to people. And if you do that, you have to put on Twitch, but if you do that, you have to pick the forum that is the best for you. I don't know if Twitch is the best forum for me to do, hey, put up the show and stuff like that, because Twitch doesn't archive your saved shows anymore. But that's something that as a person who's being more involved and more this, trying to turn this into a primary job, you have to find the ways to attract the masses before you go in and say, look, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm producing. So right now, I think I'm good with the type of content that I've been creating so far. Probably a podcast of games is the best way to do it. But if I'm gonna make this a podcast type of format, I have to market it as a certain way, so people would say, oh, hey, look at this week's podcast or this week's content. And what are some of the successful things in these laid back presentations? Yeah, what are some of the things in these laid back presentations that make it successful? Right now, I'm gearing towards a little bit of comedy and a little bit of social evaluation. However, you can't do that without getting rid of the guilt or getting rid of the backlash from social. What I mean by this is, yesterday we had a discussion about the N-word, and because something that's totally brought up in games all the time. You're going to be exposed to that if you're in video games, or if you're in any type of sporting arena, or any type of music culture, just because of the nature of the word and who uses it and the culture that's behind it and what it identifies, right? But I don't feel comfortable. I actually feel very odd talking about that, because I don't know, I don't feel like I'm an expert on this kind of stuff, and who am I to say to have such a charged, to say something about such a charged topic, I know that probably I'm somebody that either A, contributes to, or B, oh no, that one's just there, it's not gonna come out, it's glitched. I don't know how I could contribute into a positive or negative manner, and what if there are repercussions that I can't answer to, that stuff is going to come up periodically. And if you're going to do a broadcast, you can't be afraid of that kind of stuff, because you have to have answers, and you have to have a crystal clear stance of what you are, where you are, and you have to be that clear when it comes to that topic, like all the time. And if you're that clear and you become known for the face of certain topics like like that, then if you change your stance, there could also be, social repercussions as well. Like, the only thing that I know I do well is I see what happens, and I could evaluate what happens when there is like those charged topics when you're talking about when it's discussed. However, I'm not somebody who can offer an opinion that could stand on the topic, just because, like, look, as an observer, you're observing. To be impartial is what I stand to be. Like, I'm all for equality, I'm all for everything, and I want everything to be as impartial as possible. Like, the way I feel like, personally, the way that we evolve socially is when we go through things that happen in life. We navigate through the cultures and just, like, observe it for what it is and perpetually put ourselves out there without offending people. That's the best way to do it, for me. And because, like, that's what I stand for, I really don't want to offer any more onto any charged subjects. Because to me, like, it's not that it doesn't matter, but it's something that, if it's something that could potentially push you backwards to be regressive in, the development of culture, development of language, development to, a happier future, then I'd rather just, I don't want to say not talk about it. I'd rather just not bring it up because it doesn't affect me directly. And if it doesn't affect you directly, then you have little say on what the stances are. Like, it doesn't matter, I like to be a positive force in the community. Like, I want to say, oh, look, if you guys are into games, if you guys are into whatever part, like sports, it's a good thing. Recreation is important for the mind to develop. Like esports, I don't even understand why this is a big, like, issue. Like, oh, esports would not be the same as regular sports and stuff like that, because esports takes a different type of dedication and stuff like that. Look, being trained mentally to be able to interact with people like a team is always essential in any sport, right? And if you, like, any sport, as in, like, physical sport, like, you have to interact with your teammates to be able to get objectives, and that's like team building experiences that translate into all areas of life, like from work, career, from interacting with other people, like, indefinitely. If you work solo, you're not gonna be able to accomplish as much, and you're probably, oh wait, where's the Guardian at? Oh my goodness. Okay, good. I passed him. I was like, the Nephilim Rift Guardian has appeared. Continues with the Rift, as if the Guardian doesn't matter. Yeah, in any facet of life, you have to interact with people. Oh my goodness, I hate Ryan. There is no reason. Anyway, so in any facet of life, whether it's work, whether it's friends, you have to interact with people, right? To a lesser extent, like all sports, you have to interact with your team in order to gain the best type of results for whatever you're doing. And, like, it doesn't matter if it's esports or it doesn't matter if it's, physical sports, because esports, whoa, you have to interact with a team to get where you're at. You have to put your egos aside, and you have to have teamwork. In any facet of life, like friendship, like, if you want to be good friends with somebody, to love somebody, I don't want to say unconditionally as friends, but I'm gonna go there. If you want to love people unconditionally as friends, like, each friendship is different, and how you navigate through that friendship is can be found, can be mirrored and reflected in every part of your life. Now, people can say it's not good to have so many different parts of your life mirror the same aspects, but that's part of building yourself and your own individuality. Oh my goodness. Okay, almost died there. But that's part of building your individuality and building your aspect of life. Like, because if you know who you are and what you want to like demonstrate, what your beliefs are and what they're true to, and if you want to share that with the world, you have to have the support of others. Because if you're running solo, it's a long, hard road, and you don't know if you're ever going to be recognized for who you are. That's the same in everything, right? People say, like, people say, as long as you have the connections, you'll have the power to do whatever you want, like in life. But I'd say that's not true, because it doesn't matter if you have the connections or not. You're expecting a lot from an ad surface based connection, and I don't think. Oh, I need to sell these because I'm out of gold. You're looking at it at an ad surface based connection, which is very difficult for people to dive into you with barely knowing who you are and supporting what you do. Because let's face it, like, nobody wants to support a bad guy. Like, if you hey, these are two things that are equal in value, except one of them has a bad attitude or something that you don't stand for, the community is not going to stand behind it. You know, what you want to do is be able to find a community that you're comfortable with to share your life experiences and share whatever else that you are, your interests are. That's one of the main goals, or the main I don't want to say points of life, but that's one of the main goals for people to, because it's imperative that people talk to each other and have those social relationships in order to build bigger, greater things, right? Like, for example, if we want to save the world from being smashed to bits by an asteroid, and if that's a concern on your mind, you're going to have to get the best and brightest minds out there who actually are concerned with these issues. Not only that, you're going to have to work with them and their personalities in order to try to make it work. Because everybody has some, I don't want to say idiosyncratic, because that makes it seem very very conceited and pompous and stuff, but everybody has their special trait that either makes them, you know, harder to deal with people. And it's important to increase your patience in order for you to really bridge these relationships in order to have a more fulfilled end goal of a relationship. Like, I know I'm speaking in like ridiculous terms here, especially when it comes to games and stuff like that. Like, it's what it seems like now, but I truly believe that, you know, in a game, you get your social atmosphere, you get a pretty consistent dealing of, you know, some type of fixed, structured environment. Like, for example, D3 is going to always be like, look, you're going to monster kill, these are the universal laws of D3. So if you want to be the best at D3, you're going to have to navigate through these laws, and like later on, you're going to need to use your math and number crunching to like provide a more positive experience for you. The other thing that you could do is say, oh, screw it, it's become too hard, I'm just going to invest myself in another game, because like I don't want to spend that much time on something like this anyway. And that's also understandable, you know? But like, when it comes to defining games and defining stuff like light games, I can't believe that people have such a withdrawal when it comes to like describing games like any other sport. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, because you have to practice a lot to be good at video games too. Like, just like anything at life, you have to practice to be good at your craft. And because we live in a digital era where this can be a way to express yourself, and like, with the increased amount of people on this green earth, you can just, like, it's totally viable as a means of self-expression. Just remember that school is important, so you're able to communicate what you're expressing in a positive manner. I think school should teach good mannerisms and good social behavior and how things operate in the real life, because although I was taught all that, and I did self-research on that when I was younger, unless you really experience a part of that type of community, you wouldn't understand how it feels like just to be there. And that's just everybody. It's also subjective, right? We're given imagination, we're given thought to try to understand each other in that respect, so we can develop into like better beings than before. So the evolution of how things are. That's why, like, one of the proverbs, like an old American proverb, is never forget where you're from. That basically says remember your history, because history is important, so you don't make the same mistakes. But also, every time is different. Everybody has different situations, so you have to navigate through your stories in order to survive and like just enjoy life for what it is. Maybe that's at the core of my argument here. Like, whatever you're given, you should just enjoy. And some people are going to be more advantaged than others, but you shouldn't look at somebody and say, oh, I'm sad because I don't have that stuff. You should be able to look at people and be like, wow, I'm really glad that he has that stuff. I wonder what it is to have that stuff. Man, it must be something else. But you look at yourself and be like, I enjoy life for what it is here too, because everybody has an essential place to make this world go around, whatever it is. So, and I think my calling is just reviews, playthroughs, streaming, because I've always, ever since I was young, I can't imagine like doing a lot of other stuff. Like, when I was young, I wanted to be like the president of the United States, like in kindergarten, because I wanted to go out there and I wanted to do something good for the people. But since I learned about politics and everything, like the advantages and disadvantages of being a leader, I would still want to do something good for my community, but you also kind of look at the resources that you're given and like do something there. And the resources that I have been given are like close to zero, actually. So that is why, I'm taking something that is put dear and close to my heart, like video games, and something that's like relatively inexpensive, and share my life experiences via, video games, instead of just, not being able to share in any form of communication at all. Because I think that, like, forums are very important for people to express their feelings. Like, it's one of the things that I don't want to say universal things that people yearn for, but like it's a universal, basically, right? It is imperative that people have some type of connection to each other. That's just how it is. And if I can't reach my immediate atmosphere and satisfy my knowledge of what I can do with whatever I'm given, then I'm gonna have to reach, online and do all this stuff. The good thing about the internet is you can express yourself, you can express your views, and you could express your craft any way you want now, and it could be seen by thousands of people. I don't want to say millions, right? But like, if you really work hard and this is it's a subject of debate on, or if it's a hot topic, then it could be seen by millions of people. I'm not a hot topic. I'm not gonna be in a movie anytime soon. I just want to get myself out there and be the face of something like that. That was my ultimate goal. That's why we're talking about this, right? So I'm not going to be a hot topic anytime soon. I would like to be. I'd like to be recognized, but like, I'm not given the resources to be the hot topic, and I don't have the skill set to be a pro player. Or maybe I do. I don't know. But like, when I was doing the League of Legends thing, like, I'm trying to be a League of Legends pro, I was like, man, like, I get affected by negatively. I get negatively affected by each and every game that I'm in, because people are just like so mean to you, so angry to you, and like bashing you to you at every turn. And I was like, wow, I can't take this, right? Like, whenever I see a new player, I always try to help them out. Like, oh hey, like, don't worry about it. Just try to learn and try to figure out what you need to do to win, or stick close to me. I'll try to do my best for you and stuff like that. But whenever somebody makes a mistake on my team, or when I make a mistake, people are so malicious. It's like they have a vendetta against you. Like, no, you suck. You should just retire. Blah blah blah. And like, you don't know who you're talking to when you're talking that maliciously to somebody. Like, I know people who shot people for way less than that. I remember a couple of years ago in Southern California, there was a couple of people who had such a ridiculous case of road rage. Because somebody honked, they crashed into that person, and then when they came out to confront the person, they shot him and drove away. Like, people kill people for way less, so I rather just not be a jerk if possible. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with I'd rather not be a jerk if possible. People say, oh, you can't be nice to everyone, like, that's just the way it is. But, I'd rather be nice to people at every turn that I can, and because, like, they don't really need to suffer through more crap. Like, they already have their daily lives to deal with, and if you're a burden to them, like, how not cool is that, So this rift is actually taking a while. Maybe just one rift today then. Like, when I do rifts, I like to maximize and just kill all the monsters in the rift, because number one, rifts have higher amount of drops, like a higher percentage of magic find, and number two, wait, let me check that out really fast. Is that true? And number two, rifts have higher density. So no, I have no magic find in here. I don't know what the posting said. I read an official Blizzard posting that said rifts were designed to be the most efficient way for you to farm up your gear, kill monsters and stuff like that. So they increased the magic find in the rifts. And I don't know if that's rift magic find or whatever, but whatever. Maybe the monsters in here have higher drop rates. I don't know. Double the drop rates of outside. But yeah. Anyway, let's finish speaking to Auric. That is it for today. Thank you very much for watching my show. Today we've covered a ton of stuff. Number one, armor and resistances. What is it at the highest point before you, like, stacking on a lot of armor or a lot of resistance will not do much. Number two, the quick run with the monk. As you can see, the monk did everything on Torment 1 pretty fast, and it was great. I didn't get any legendaries today. I'm actually dry of legendaries lately, but it's alright. And number three, you heard about a lot of stuff. Just everything from life, how to react, like stuff about the game that permeates through, social strata and social atmosphere. So Until the next time, I hope you all A, have fun, B, be nice to each other, and C, take something away and just be a happier person in general. Like, we're not given much in this life to live, and each story is just so special and so great that I wish that all the stories can be shared and all the stories can be viewed at the same time. That that's just, it's nothing better to live through, live vicariously through people's experiences, stories, and imagination. Until next time, just have fun and keep gaming. Peace out.